got a peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I got a peace like a river in my soul. Got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
Ah, beautiful. Beautiful. Well, in my research for this talk, I love doing that research because I come up with such gems and it informs me so well. So for this reading, it's by Rumi, a great Persian poet who touches my heart in many ways. This one, Out Beyond Ideas of Wrongdoing. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there's a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. This leads us to our third fruits of the Spirit. Today we're embracing serenity. I love this wisdom that comes from Galatians. In your bulletin, you'll see Galatians 5:16 to 26, which I see as a profound truth statement. Now, this comes directly from the Eugene Peterson translation of the Bible, the Message, which is in plain American English. So you pick any chapter, it's very easy to read. It's in our language. It's not the poetry of King James Version, but you can read King James and get that delicious prose and poetry, and then you can turn to the Message and find out, oh, that's what that says. So it's good, and I'm not going to read this during the service, but take it with you, and as we're examining these fruits, let it be your guide. Also, there's a bookmark on the front table that shows all the fruits and the meanings, so pick one of those up. So this is our cornucopia, which we are filling. We started with kiwi for love, and then we went mango for joy, and today is the plum. Now, one thing I see that's significant about these fruits of spirit is, isn't it the recommendation of all the nutrients and doctors that we eat all the fruits and vegetables to keep us strong and healthy and whole? Well, here we have a cornucopia of fruits that is giving us the stepping stones, the guidelines of how to live our spiritual truth. How beautiful is that? So let's pick the plum for peace and allow it to guide us on this journey. So put the plum into the cornucopia. At the end of this, that cornucopia is going to be full. And so will we from eating all those fruits. We start with Martha Smock. This wisdom is wonderful. Peace of mind is not something you achieve when everything is perfect. When things have been worked out happily. Peace of mind is something that oftentimes precedes the solving of the problem. This is so true. Now, the great scientist Albert Einstein said, the consciousness that created any problem is not going to be solved by the consciousness of the problem. It has to be solved from a new consciousness. Now, I would say that the peace that happens before the solution is that breath. That okay, I've got a situation. I got a block in my road. I got a pothole. I got something I'm having to deal with that's causing chaos in my mind. I don't have peace of mind. I have everything but peace in my mind. Do you know what that's like? Maybe so. Because we're human. We have those moments. But if we allow it, if we stop and embrace serenity, we can find solution in that peace that passes all understanding within us. It's possible, and it's available all the time. I love the Serenity Prayer, written by Reinhold Niebuhr. Now, we're quite familiar, especially if we have any 12-step program experience, from that first chapter. It's profound. But his second chapter is equally profound. So, here it is. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace. So those very potholes, roadblocks, diagnosis, transitions, the hardship, the chaos in our life are actually a pathway to our peace. Now it's advanced spirituality when we can say, my cancer is my blessing. My diagnosis is my blessing. My divorce is my blessing. My job change is my blessing. Because when we can see that those hardships are the very pathway to our peace, we're ready to acknowledge that God really is one with us right now. And so as we embrace that serenity, and it always amazes me, the train comes by every Sunday right when something profoundly true is said by me or others. I love that. The Dalai Lama, a great spiritual leader who has faced enormous challenge, can't go to his home country in Tibet, and he is the example to the world of peace and compassion. And he says here, we can never obtain peace in the outer world until we make peace with ourselves. Because he knows, as we know as Unity Truth students, that love, all of these fruits, love, peace, and joy are within us. And when we tap into that truth within us, we have a chance to serve up a plum of peace. Serve up any fruit of the Spirit to enrich other people's lives so that we can make friend out of a foe, so that we can heal any broken relationship, even if that healing happens from afar. Because that healing, that peace, begins right here within us. I turn to this wisdom from Mahatma Gandhi, again, a great spiritual leader who transformed a nation by the principle of peace and nonviolence. And he says, each one has to find his peace from within. And peace, to be real, must be unaffected by outside circumstances. Now, you don't have to go far. Mahatma Gandhi, Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle, Eric Butterworth, Charles Fillmore, Myrtle Fillmore, these great spiritual truth teachers continue to tell us, in truth, there is nothing outside us that has any power on us. All events are neutral. Now, our human side says, that's a little hard to swallow. But it's our reaction to the outside that has our experience. Case in point, my father was not a perfect man, but if there was an emergency, you wanted my father there. Any emergency, he was the man to call because he could just be there present. No fuss, no muss, centered in we can handle this in every situation. And that's what we want. No matter what's going on, we want to maintain our center, our knowing of peace, so that we know how to respond. We know how to help. We know how to listen. We know how to handle whatever it is. Now, that's something each of us can adopt by not letting anything outside it. And it doesn't have to be a catastrophe. It might just be a little trouble. And we've all had a little trouble. Maybe even today or this week, a little trouble. But that peace happens by turning within and connecting with the peace that passes all understanding. And it's in that peace within where we connect with whatever we call the divine within us, our Christ consciousness, that divine nature, that essence that's always providing us. From that wonderful prayer from St. Teresa of Avila, it's be still and know. Come into the alignment of truth and experience peace. Desmond Tutu, a rich and wonderful spiritual leader, says, if you want peace, you don't talk to your friends, you talk to your enemies. Now, this is easier said than done, because let's face it, it's really easy to talk with our friends. But if we want peace, if we want what we hold in our vision and mission for a world of peace, it only happens by each of us choosing to say, okay, I'm willing to listen to you, who I've identified as someone outside of me, or the other. Those people I hate. Those people I disagree with. There's incredible power that happens when we're willing to sit and communicate. And maybe the only thing that we say is, tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me more. Because when we can really identify that each one of us on this journey have our own knowing of truth. Each of us is a true student. And they're just as aligned with their belief and their truth as we are. But there's great peace that can happen when we're willing to listen. Roxana Dean has been part of a group of people who are on the red side and the blue side of politics. And they come together and they communicate with the goal to not change each other, but to accept each other, to identify with what can we come into understanding so that we can each exist in knowing what's right for us. And that's peace. Not condoning people's behavior, but accepting what is. And the person we really need to change is ourselves. And I want to wrap this talk up with this beautiful quote from Thomas Merton, who was a monk and has been an inspiring influence in my life for many years. We are not at peace with others because we're not at peace with ourselves. And we're not at peace with ourselves because we're not at peace with God. It's sad but true that since there really is no place that God is not, there's nothing we need to say or do to be closer to God. The knower and the known is all right here. And with that, it's ours to continue to turn within for that connection, for that wisdom that guides us and provides us. And these fruits of Spirit are the very values that we can use to navigate the journey of the mystery of connecting with God, with our love, with our joy, and with our peace. And therein lies the ability for us to manifest our vision, our mission, our core values of who and what we are as true students in unity, so that this world becomes the world we vision. And it all starts with each of us individually. Because if there's peace here in all things, there's peace there in all things. And so it is. Thank you.
Your faith. Step out on the water. Release your faith. Every step is stronger. Step out on the water.